Oh, blocked up nose again. Tissue up my nose. Right, so we're gonna see who's coming online, and we'll give it a few moments to populate, and then we'll get started. Oh. Uh, let's see what we got. Who's online? We'll just give it a few moments to sort of share this about. I've sort of got everything ready, so hopefully we'll be all okay. Uh, see what we got. Who's online? We'll just give it a few moments to sort of share this about. I've sort of got everything ready, so hopefully we'll be all okay. Uh, see what we got. Who's online? We'll just give it a few moments to sort of share this about. I've sort of got everything ready. Let's put that over there. Show more. Let's just try and share this around a bit more now. Probably get used to starting about 10 past or something. Oh, what projects on you as well? I can do that. Is it? Mm. Right, see who was out there, and let's see if we get some more of this shared around. Oh, hang on. Right, so we're slowly get. What I'm going to do is whoever's on there now, if you could bear with me, I'm just going to share this out a little bit so we could see if we get a few more people on live. And just going to get the link out there. So today we're going to be looking at a few things, and we're going to be looking at damage to a mill, a medieval mill. We've got the few mysteries that people wanted me to look at, so that's what we're doing today. Whoever's online now, if you want to sort of say anything you want me to talk about, whether don't think I'm going to be able to get images up here now. I seem to have a bit of a blocked nose at this minute, so but the light fairly good, and feel a bit shady on the image actually, which is a bit odd. Hopefully that's better. I'm trying to get this link up here, so I get the link out there, but struggling a minute, folks. Right, okay. I'm going to share this a little bit to get see if there's anyone else wants to join us. I'm going to put that there. I'll sort of share this out there a little bit. Share this to my pages. Okay, we're going to. So anyone who's actually coming on the line now, just hang on a few moments. I've got a few things that I want us to be looking at today, so I'm just sharing around a little bit. I'll get it out to a few more places. And do you know what? I might actually we'll just send it out to there we go. I want to put it there. Live there. Okay, who have we got? Anyone online now? If you could sort of say hello. And we've got a few things that we'll be doing. Just give me 1 more minute, and we'll get ready to rumble. And okay. Oh, I'm gonna change the image a minute so it comes up better. Sort of faffing admin that I got to do to get this moving. Upload a thumbnail. Is it gonna happen? Image. That'll do. Yeah. All right. Let me do it. Save. We're gonna go back there. Go back onto live. Few things. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And just gonna make sure that I've got everything ready. Something I wanted to avoid doing. Hang on a minute. I've spilled something a minute, which isn't good. Hang on a minute. I just spilled something. Sorry about this, guys. Right, okay, let's get going. Okay, folks. So I'm going to show a few images on there. There's probably advertising on the screen. And ah, apparently I'm clashing with. So hang on, put the link out there. Question of the day: can we trust the National Museum with regional treasures? Oh my God, what a question to start off with. Well, that's quite a big one, and I'm just gonna chuck another link out there. Right, I've just been told on the phone that I am clashing with. Thanks, Carl. Dear Carl, you're clashing with Britain's Hidden History live from 8 p.m. Oh God. Well, anyway, folks, I can't do anything about that. So we've started now anyway. So we've got a question chucked at us straight away. It's 8:13. Last week, I was asked if I could discuss the events of the 530s, volcanoes, comets. So I got some images about that. Sorry, my nose is a bit blocked. Jordan, hello, Carl. Your friend Adam, the Great Griff, is clashing with you. Oh my God, I'm clashing with. Right. Okay. Uh, Adam's actually a student of mine as well. So I tell you what, go back and forth. I don't want to usurp Adam. I tell you what, if we had some more coordination, right, we would be able to work out what was going on. I'm much more clearer tonight because I've got some more light. And sorry about the clash tonight, but I don't know what Adam's talking about. And obviously, Adam's gonna like have 1,000 more people than is watching me, but that's life. I don't know. Maybe I should be starting at 7 o'clock. Guys, if you want me to start at 7 o'clock, I will because it's winter's coming. And if I start at 7 o'clock, it would make no difference. That's what I want to know. So we've got a bit of a ramble. So I want everybody to like, subscribe, and anyone who isn't a member, join now. Otherwise, I will burn you at the stake. It's competition of the speakers. Right. Okay. I tell you what, if you've got two mobile phones, you can listen to Adam, right? And you can watch my images. So there we go. My head is aching, sneezing too. You haven't got the old lurgy, have you? So black. Anyway, right. Black. Look, black patches dog, right? Can we just call you something sensible like dog? Right, that'll do. We'll call you Dog Man, right? By the way, you're changing your name to Patches. So, hi, Carl. Question of the day: can we trust the National Museum with regional treasures? When you say National Museum, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the British Museum? Are you talking about the National Museum in Cardiff? The biggest problem is with Wales. Right, let's just screw what's going on over the border. Let's just talk about Cymru, Wales, right? So, National Museum of Wales, for me, isn't big enough for our regional treasures. When you talk about regional treasures, this is the problem. What do you mean by... Okay, right. You're talking about the British Museum, aren't you? I don't think the British Museum can be trusted with anything really now because what are they doing? Things are disappearing. So it's a really difficult question because right, okay, Patchest, right? You've just found a find in the field, right? It's a gold coin, right? And it dates to, it's a gold coin dating to the It's a Juratrigi coin dating to around 5 AD, right? And you found it in a field, and you're up in Flintshire, right? Which it would be really difficult to get a Duratrigi coin up in Flintshire. It's a very rare coin, so you've decided to donate it to the British Museum. It's likely it will never be put on display, but you're legally obliged now under the Act to declare that single gold coin. You will get a reward, and it will be brought by the nation, but you're a nice guy. You donated it to the nation to be put on display. The problem is that the find itself, right? The find itself, as we know, finds from the British Museum have been stolen and go and disappearing. I've seen figures between 1,500 and 15,000 finds go and missing from the British Museum. So the British Museum isn't safe. It has to be as safe as a bank. And if it's not as safe as a bank, then what's the point of donating artifacts and so on? Right. Anyway, hopefully we've answered that one. I don't want to go any further with that, but I know my answer is no. Right. I want to do precisely an hour today. So we started rather late because I was waiting for some of you to come on. Probably the reason why we don't have lots of people on is because we're competing with Britain's hidden history, which is fine. Okay, there's some of you who are not involved with Britain's hidden history, and that's life. So what I'm going to do is go directly on some images. So we're going to go directly on some images, and that's where we're going to go. So this is from last week. I don't know who asked me this question, right? In what effect did the events of the 530s have on British history, right? Why is it called the Dark Ages and so on? Well, what is going on in the 500s that really upsets the apple cart? Well, what's happening in the 400s? What's really upsetting the apple cart? Usually, what we're seeing is in the 400s, it's the Roman Empire's on the death door of collapse. And it's collapsed by 476, and lots of things are blamed, i.e., tribal people coming over into the Roman Empire and so on. But it's also the thing is that there's lots of natural disasters happening. Right now, we're not going to talk about how to avoid natural disasters, having less human population on the planet. Oh, did I mention that? Let's not get political. So, what I'd like to do is I would like to look at my notes, which we've got my notes here, right? So, and also the Sycharth question, the issue to do with the petition, and what should we be doing more to preserve Sycharth in North Wales, the home of Owen Glyndŵr? And we know that Welsh Independence Day was yesterday, and I did 2 videos on that, and they're on my channel and my TikTok. So 16th of September in the year 1400, right? So we've got a few things I want to do tonight. And let's look at this as follows. Right, so we want to do some images. We're organized tonight. So very organized. Right. I know Adam, my mate, Adam, our joint friend. He's actually one of my students, but I really feel guilty about Adam tonight. But Adam, you've probably got loads more people than me, so don't worry about it. I just got a few that you haven't got. Right? It's probably because they don't like the name Adam. They prefer the name Karl or James. It's a name thing. Nothing about quality. Adam's probably more organized than me anyway. So stop saying stop it. Right. So here we go. And let's see these images. You can see all my apps. There you go. So we've got some images I want us to look at, and we're looking at the sky. We're looking at some clouds. And the reason why we're looking at some clouds is that the sky at times in the 400s and in the 500s wasn't like this, right? In fact, this is a rather interesting image, because when you actually go down the spy hole of looking at volcanoes and comets in regards to the 530s, right, you actually come across this one. And this is in 539. There's an event that wipes out the parts of the Mayan civilization, right? And comment, British history is very rare. They have Sunday Night Live. Well, okay, fair enough. Sunday night's my night. So there you go. So I think the question for last week was, did the events, the protracted episodes of change with volcanic eruption, did that have an effect on what's happening in Britain? I've heard all sorts of things, that there was some kind of comet and everybody died in Britain, all sorts of things like that. I'm not going to go with that, but what I'm going to go with is that we know in the 530s we've got the Justinian plague. We've got volcanic winters, the word volcanic winter of 536. So we get away from this image, but there are volcanic eruptions that are affecting the northern hemisphere, and there's volcanic eruptions going on in Central America, the Mayan civilization, which is obviously a completely different lecture altogether, blowing my nose. So where do we want to go now? So what we want to do, we want to look at another image, and hell and brimstone, bloody hell! Look at that. Now, this whole thing, it's said that there's a volcanic winter in the in the latter part of the 500s, 536 to be precise. There's a volcanic winter, and this goes on for ages. This goes on for absolutely ages. And there's a massive cooling of the climate. There's a massive climatic cooling. There's a massive climatic cooling in the northern hemisphere. Not just talking about the northwestern hemisphere, but the northern hemisphere. And when I do a prehistory thing, I do my prehistory class on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, as you guys know. But I do on a Monday, I do my lectures, which are about, I call them on the Monday evening. I've already done 2 sessions. I've got another 3 to go. That's Monday at 7 o'clock. And we're looking at why it's called the Dark Age, the early medieval period between 476 and 1090. And somebody said, well, it's because of this, because there was this horrible atmospheric change due to this volcanic winter. And there's also talk of a comet as well. There's all these things going on, and you got Justinian plague, you got volcanoes going off everywhere in Europe and Central America. You've got a comet and all these things, right? So this is really, really important to try to understand. Usually, when we look at history and archaeology, nothing ever comes alone, right? And the reason nothing ever comes alone is because when we say this could be any image. This could be any image of absolute disaster in the northern hemisphere, anytime, really. This could be after the First World War, it could be after the Second World War, it could be after the plague that hits Europe in the latter part of the 1340s. But when we look at the plague, for example, of the late 1340s, we get climatic changes, and we're not going to talk about we're not going to talk about global warming, environmental change, and all this stuff, right? But the point is, this is a cyclical thing. What we see is events cause and effect. So lots of things are going on. So volcanic winter, you do see across the world, more or less, that there's simultaneous volcanic eruptions, right, on various continents. This itself is going to cause people to go from one pan to another of absolute disaster. So what we've got is, there's one thing that we've got about this period is we've got some writing. We when we look at writing from earlier disasters, for example, we talk about Plato, we talk about in the 300s BC. We talk about Plato talking about Atlantis and those events. Well, the, the, when we look at the 500s, we've got lots more writers and authors in Constantinople talk about it's got colder, and they're talking the other events, and it's got colder because there's lots of eruptions in different continents of the earth. And with that, it's going to cause various sulfates, various sort of gases that have escaped. There's dust clouds, all sorts of things are going on, and that's going to have an adverse effect on reducing the solar radiation that reaches the Earth, and the solar radiation that reaches the Earth naturally heats up the Earth, and this is quite dramatic across Europe and in other continents as well, as we've mentioned in North America, Central America, and places like Greenland and Scandinavia and Iceland. All these places are being affected. We know a lot of this from ice cores as well. And again, I need to tell you why I'm doing this, because it's why am I doing it? Because why is that period from 476 to 1090 a period of what can only be described as darkness, the Dark Ages, the early medieval period? Is it because the sky is dark? I've said that. I've said usually it's a period of great turmoil. It's a period, some say, that things ain't being written down, but we know that lots of things are being written down in this time frame. I'm loving this. I love little charts, as lots of you know. This is a really nice one that I've just stolen off the internet. And what we've got, interesting if we mention Scandinavia, lots of the evidence that we've got of these events do in fact come from Scandinavia. And we're looking there that archaeological evidence tell us that certain sites are being abandoned. And in fact, that little dot there, is that the site of Troy that they're describing? Obviously, that's another lecture altogether. But Troy was built upon layer, and is it Hissarlik? I think that's right. And so we've got abandonment evidence of sites in the 500s, and we've got pollen evidence, we've got archaeological evidence, we've got archaeological findings of sacrificial gold offerings. Interesting. Tree ring records, got all that. So we know this is happening. This is in the archaeology, and hopefully we've still got a few people there. You haven't all left me for Adam. We love Adam. So this is rather interesting. They're talking about summer temperatures. So this is being recorded sometime in the early part of the year, March, April, 536, that Constantine began to experience darkening skies and cooler temperatures. You can imagine that combined. It's almost as if people are thinking, within a few years, we're getting the Justinian plague, a 541 actually. Got to be a bit more precise. But we've got the Justinian plague, and it's almost as if people have done the wrong things, and it's almost as if God is punishing us with brimstone and fire. And obviously, if I want to check a comment in there, it's really, things are really changing. Things are on a real decline. So they say the average temperature. They say the average temperature in we think from the evidence there, you could obviously tell. Well, we've got core evidence as well, but ice core evidence. But we're talking about In Europe, up to the temperature in the summer months drops by 3 degrees C. Now, that's not going to be a good thing because dropping 3 degrees C when you've got harvest time, crucial. And obviously, if you're not able to get your harvest in, then what happens? That's obviously what we got from the pollen evidence there. If you don't if you don't get your harvest in, then you're not going to have surplus for the following year. And that surplus for the following year is going to have a catastrophic effect, and it means that you're going to be weaker. And when you got a few years later as well, this is being repeated. Because what happens when you've got events like this is that what happens when you've got events like this is that it continually has a knock-on effect. And this -3 degrees in the summer is quite significant. There's also evidence when you look at the Justinian plague of the 540s, what you've got is that you've got more volcanic eruptions in the latter part of the 540s. So you've got this period of great instability, and this is no doubt causing huge effects throughout Europe and the Northern Hemisphere and other civilizations other civilizations throughout the world as well. Now, what we can say is that crop failures, we know there is one thing that we do know, which is more recent, is when you get crop failures and you don't have enough food, it means people are weaker. And the effect of not having a good diet at the time, for example, of the plague, the huge, tremendous, great plague, you can't underestimate it, of the 1340s, is that you're very weak. Plague of Justinian, so you've got the plague of Justinian, famine, millions and millions of deaths. We know that there are millions and millions of deaths throughout Europe. I think the figure is something like 250 million people die throughout Europe, which is quite a tremendous death toll. Now, when you think about that humongous, tremendous, massive death toll in the 540s, that itself, 540s, 550s, 560s, that huge, tremendous death toll is absolutely huge. If you want to compare it with what happened in the pandemic, the deaths in the pandemic, for example, were nowhere near as great as the deaths that were causing at the time of the Justinian plague. And this was not deaths that were just occurring in Europe. This was occurring in other places. We've got no real idea how many millions of people died. And again, what's this got to do with Britain? Well, it's said if you've got a massive death toll in Europe, then obviously we're gonna have some of the burden of that death toll. And one of the things that we look at when we think about this whole change, this whole we've got the chart here. What we do to explain the problems in Britain in the 500s, we want to give these problems some kind of champion, and we've got King Arthur in the 500s, and you've got King Arthur I in the 400s, Blackett Wilson. But what we've got in Britain as well, we blame the lack of people and death toll on outside factors. For example, when we look at, for example, the Orkney Islands, it was initially said that the Orkney Islands had a tremendous lack of population when the Vikings got there. But that could be to do with all these terrible things happening. So we're liking this. So what we do here was the year 536, the beginning of the worst decade in history. Was it? Looking at this, if you take that roughly, maybe before 536, probably it's building up, and you go all the way to the 560s. But if we want to hone in on this, we're not just having smoke and darkened skies due to one volcanic eruption in Iceland. We're talking about other volcanic eruptions on the planet as well. But we're saying at 536, and we've obviously got the volcanic eruptions associated with the likes of Central America. And we're looking at that, and we're looking 536 Iceland volcanic eruption dimming the sun for 18 months. So, but this I got to be honest with you, this is going to have a massive effect. This is going to have a real massive effect. And it's saying this is the coldest decade on record in 2,000 years. But we're getting crops failing in the 15. Start again in the 30 in 1315. We mark that date as the beginning of the mini ice age. But again, when we look at the modern day and age, we always think about our time, and we think this is the worst time ever to be living. But things were happening elsewhere. And interesting enough, it's Justinian bubonic plague kills 35%, 50% of the population of the Eastern Roman Empire, while Europe wipes out 50% of the population of Europe. And look at that there. We're seeing this. We're trying to understand this. But again, this is going to have an effect on us. This is going to have a huge effect on us and our populations. I could go on a little bit further, but I did because I got there's other things that I want to go on rant about. I'm only supposed to be doing an hour, and I know you guys want to leave and listen to Adam the Great Griff. But this was raised, and I wanted to basically say that obviously this must have had some kind of effect. You're talking about the comet as well. This sort of thing about the comet. Jordan, you're mentioning Justinian was a tyrant too, but strong leaders were needed to keep empires together. But then again, yeah, I agree. Leaders need to be tyrants at this terrible time. Weirdly enough, Adam has finished. What? 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 Hang on. What? Hang on a minute, Adam. You're supposed to be doing an hour. You numpty. Oh, then again, what you should do is put a message on there saying I'm ranting on, right? One of the things you mentioned this on here about Justinian was a tyrant, and you're thinking, well, there he is. But also Justinian was a great, look at his empire. It's pretty big in the East, and he kept the Eastern Empire together. The thing is, right? Hey, Jordan, get on there and tell everybody, get on you now, quick. What this it's also said that Justinian was also he was defeating armies, and he was quite successful, and he was keeping the Eastern Roman Empire together. This is probably one of the biggest extents of the Eastern Roman Empire, and he's keeping things intact, right? So, hey, I'll tell you what. Let's go through a little list, right? Procopius records in the wars with the Vandals during this year, a most dreaded portent took place. The sun gave forth its light without brightness, and it seemed exceedingly like the sun in eclipse, for the beams it shed were not clear. and it lasted for a bloody long time. The heat from the sun was feeble. Prolonged frost and unseasonable drought. Frost during harvests, which made apples harden and grapes sour. A failure of bread. Here we go. Oh God, we've got to put this in. The Battle of Camlan, in which Arthur and Mordred fell, and there was great mortality in Britain and Ireland. I think. Okay, we could go on a little bit further. We could come back to this again. But hey, Jordan, come over here. Just get them over here now. 200 fans to move over. We don't want people to move over from Adam, you know? We don't. We love Adam. He's one of my students. This thing about the Battle of Camlan, it just keeps coming up. Where was Camlan and all this stuff, right? And we think about the Annals Cambrian, we think about what's happening, and it's what's causing the numbers of people to die in Britain. It must be some kind of a plague. Has to be. The population of Britain had at the height of the Roman world in Britain about 200, had been about 7 million people, but that's Ireland, Scotland, all the islands, the whole place, like 7 million people. I've always said that the population of Britain can only support 7 million people without problems. Well, population of Britain is about 17 million people now, isn't it? And 10 times what it should be. Anyway, so that hopefully that's made some sense, and we're gonna die with a bit of a squiff there because I gotta move on. Comment. Right. We moved on. Jordan, we completely changed subject, and I could change subject. Purple, right? Well, maybe we could come back to this again, Could do. Now, we have to mention this because yesterday was in fact Owain Glyndŵr Day, right? It's the day that Owain Glyndŵr proclaimed independence in 1400. It's also the day on the 16th of September 1997 I got married for the first time. Now, shut up, Carl. Right, this is Sycharth. I tell you what, Jordan, right? You've tried to get 200 fans to move over. You've done a really bad job. We haven't increased numbers on this thing at all tonight. You've ruined my day, Jordan. Thank you. Now, the Sycharth petition. Have you signed the Sycharth petition? Right now, it's this thing. This was out really recently, right? And it was. I think I got the wrong article actually. Sycharth. Hang on, have I spelt it wrong? It doesn't help, does it? It's your fault, Jordan. Right, Sycharth, Cadw, purchase. Joe, has anyone actually got a cat? Because I've got a cat here. It's a kitten, right? And it keeps going for my milk when it shouldn't do, right? Here we go. It says, I've got the right article, right? Sycharth petition debated in Senedd, right? Now, I believe about these things, right, is you should take action into your own hands, right? So it was a petition urging the Welsh government to purchase Owain Glyndŵr's ancestral home in Montgomery has been discussed in the Senedd. Now, I got to be honest with you, right? I'm just going to say it as it is, right? If people cared so much about Sycharth, right, they would just buy it, right? They would just buy the bloody thing, right? Why is it we've got to look for the state intervention all the time? Right, I tell you what, right? It says that this petition gained over 10,000 signatures. Why did they just do a fundraiser and say to each of these signatures to put a fiver in, and they would have raised the money to buy it, and you wouldn't have to. This is the problem. We're just so lack of gumph in this country. We should just go out there and buy the bloody thing. If Owain Glyndŵr's home means so much to people, why don't we just go and put our hands in our pockets and buy it, right? I don't sort of come back at me and say, oh, well, Carl, right, okay, why don't you buy it? Well, I already own an archaeological site in Wales. I've done my bit. I've spent a hell of a lot of money buying it. So, what if people are so interested in Owen Glyndŵr, right? Instead of putting flimsy little petitions into the Welsh Assembly government, right? Just do something bloody about it. Anyway, that's what I say anyway. And I keep saying it's up in Flintshire. It's not. It's Montgomery. Isn't it? By Llansilin, right? It was the manorial home of the princes of Powys Faddog and the home, and most probable the birthplace of Owen Glyndŵr, the last native-born Welshman to hold the title Prince of Wales. I would like to disagree with that because we've got somebody in the mix and one of you out there knows what I'm talking about. We've got somebody in the mix in the wonderful year of the 1530s that is in fact a direct blood descendant, and he proclaims himself a leader. And there you go. So he's not the last. Owen Glyndŵr is not the last Prince of Wales to resist rule. There's so much in our history. I'm gonna say it. I think I love Owen Glyndŵr, right? I must love him so much. So I got married on that day, and we all dressed up in costume all those years ago. But I believe that we're just feeble as a people. If we put your mouth right, put your legs in right, put your mouth where your money is, right, and go and raise and buy it. I don't know if they've decided whether to buy this site or not, right? I don't know. The thing is, right, when you think about it, how much was Sycath cost to buy, right? And then you'd probably need a little information centre there. But how much would it cost to buy, right? Oh yeah. Right, you getting it, Jarden? Right, you getting it. You're getting my bloody rant. Rupera Castle is a site very close to collapse or to be ignored. Sycath has gained reputation, but Rupera has been totally forgotten. Yes, you're right, Jarden. Completely correct. You are really completely correct, Jarden. That is my point. The point is we are so feebly useless in this country. How many museums have we got in Wales? This point earlier on, right? How many little museums do we have in Wales, right? Let's start going through the list. There's not many. Is there a Cardiff museum? Well, you could say that there's a display and there's the National Museum of Wales. How many museums are actually in the valleys, right? Not many, right? There's not many museums in Wales, right? Simply because the people of Wales are so spineless. I'm Welsh, I could say it. The people of Wales are so spineless. They can't get their arses out and do something about these sites. Repair a castle, right? Okay? I tell you what, Jarden, right? Dinas Powys Castle. That is one of the finest native-built castles. Walls, it's far more important than Sycath. I've got to be honest with you. And the walls of Repara could have been saved 20 years ago, right? But what happened? Wasn't there a planning application to convert Repara, right? And the local council rejected it, and therefore it fell into ruins. You could have had Repara Castle, the outline of it still there, but no, politicians, arseholes. There is a city museum in Cardiff. Well, yeah, I know that, Jarden, right? The National Museum of Wales, right? And you've got the City Museum, which is more recent museum, isn't it? Right. But is it the type of worth of museum that displays archaeology? That's the question, right? Okay, yeah, okay, right, okay, I've been called out on that. But But what I'm trying to say, there's not enough museums in Wales, and there's not enough people caring about the history and archaeology. I tell you what is bloody caring about the history and archaeology, and it's a shame I've only got 3 people and a dog out there listening to me. There is a repair and preservation trust, but there's no money. Well, I tell you what, right? Tell you what, keep mentioning it every week, right? Jordan, chuck the bloody link on there for a repair and castle preservation trust, and let's get some bloody donations over there. That's what we need. And whilst we're talking about donations, a little donation my way as well. Press that little pound sign there, right? Jordan, chuck me a burger on there, £1.99. Everyone, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join my channel. There's also a merchandise thing on the screen as well. Well, you can click on the merchandise. Anyway. Right, I tell you what, Jordan, you set me up for this, haven't you? Right, you've really set me up. And what you set me up to do, you already bloody know. Isn't it just me and you, Jordan, and a dog talking, right? Well, I believe that Cadw is absolutely useless, right? I really do. Cadw's a pile of absolute repositories of doom, like useless. And do you know, actually, guys, right? Do you know what I'm gonna do? Right, I gotta share this. I gotta chuck this. You know what? We should need more people on tonight, right? I want more people on in tonight. Andrew Welland, my dog Bruno is listening. Well, Bruno, right? We love you. What does Bruno think about my rant today as well, Andrew? Does he like my ranting? I tell you what we're going to bloody do. We're going to move away from Sycath. We're going to forget this bloody flag right there. What am I going to do next? I tell you what I am going to do, right, is I'm not going to invade Poland. That's for sure. I'm just going to go on here, right, and I'm going to find someone, right? Should I just chuck a link over to Adam now? That's bad, isn't it? Oh God. Do you know what? Right. There's one person that I want to join us tonight. Right. So we're gonna there we go. We're gonna try and get Mandy on here. Mandy. So we'll have Mandy, Andrew, Bruno, Jordan, and Patch's dog. We'll get Mandy on you, right? Hopefully, get Mandy on you, and a 3-legged cat. Right now, I am livid, right? I am absolutely bloody livid, and the reason why I'm bloody livid, this site, which is listed as a medieval mill, right, in the valleys, has been damaged by Transport for Bloody Wales. I've done a video on it. We all love ranting. Keep on. Well. Thank you, Andrew. I tell you what, Andrew, right? Chuck a donation on there. Good Jordan's too tight to chuck a donation on you tonight. Anyway, this itself here, right? Not her. Forget about her. This is actually a mill, right? This is at the back, basically, of Ystwyth Rhondda the train station. It's a mill. The original mill itself is associated with the monastery at Penrhys, right? He obviously is rebuilt, and there's stuff added to it, right? So Transport for Wales, right? They built their train line. Well, the train line already exists. They've upgraded the train track for this frigging electrification. I tell you what about electrification, right? Cutting down all these bloody trees, tens of thousands of bloody trees, to electrify the train line into the valleys, right? Now, when you think about it, and it looks like something from the 1960s, right? Now, they fell trees, right? And these frigging trees have totally screwed this site up, right? The tree, I've done a video on this, is the trees have smashed into this site, right? They've trashed it, right? They've totally trashed this site, and it's really angered me because, again, I did a YouTube video on this, right, and hardly anyone's commented. And I do YouTube videos. I do one a day, which is question of the day, right? And sometimes I get like 200 views, 500 views, 2,000 views. I chucked a joke on there yesterday. That joke itself, right, had about 1,700 views, right? Now, Yeah, all right then. It's a joke. But what is a joke is that I put a video out on this bloody mill, right? And hardly anyone's watched it because they just don't care. So, Jarden, you're talking about repair a castle, right? I'm talking about Dinas Powers Castle. We're talking about Sycharth, right? Genuinely, very few people care about a history and archaeology in Britain. In Wales, they don't really care. You know, if if we got everybody together, right, and we started to say, right, okay, let's just do something, but we don't get together, right? I'm having a rant, right? Anyone want to put any links on there about any of these things, right? You want to put a link on about Sycharth, right, in a petition, chuck it on. You want to put a link on about Repair, chuck it on. But Dinas Powers Castle on, chuck it on, right? I've got videos on my channel about Dinas Powers Castle, right? And I tell you what, we'll look at this flag now. I saw your post about this, and I tuned in tonight. Cheers, love. Thanks, Andrew. And the dog, Bruno. We love Bruno. What we're going to do, right, we're going to look at my video, right? We're going to go on here. Bugger that. Oh, there's the missus. We're going to, oh, God, YouTube. Right, let's go on to YouTube, right? Let's watch my video on YouTube, right? There we go, right? Can you see that video there? There, 69 bloody views. Hang on a minute, we're going to have another moan. Right, hang on a minute. Stop, stop. Oh, bugger. It's gone side on. Right. Okay, here we go. Right, there we go. Right. The videos I put on, right? Question of the day today, 64 views. It'll be a lot more than that later on, right? This thing about an important medieval site, 69 views posted yesterday. My joke about a pilchard, 1.7 thousand views, right? And the one about Welsh Independence Day, nearly 100 views. Crap. Why question of the day? Nearly 500 views. But the one important thing, right? Transport for Wales. So if we start this video again, right? We don't want the Neolithic sites one balls to that. Oh no! I don't want that. Oh God! Oh no! It's all gone wrong. Right, okay, there. What's this? Look at that tree stump. It's smashed straight through that wall, right? Shocking, isn't it? Look at all that crap lying there, right? And then you've got another wall there that's totally smashed up. The stone wall's gone. Look at that. Totally smashed it up. And you're talking about the total destruction of these types of sites, right? And you're coming back to this site. They don't give a care. They don't care. They really don't. And nobody cares except you guys because you love me. I know you do. We love Adam as well. But why the hell did Adam choose to like anyway? But this itself, there it is. And you're just thinking, yeah, hang on a minute. Why have we got that on? Go away. Right, okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the screen, right? Right. So anyway, we've had a good old rant. So talking about something else. Guys, right? Whose flag is this? Come on. Any ideas? Any ideas whose flag this is? Right. Now, again, whilst we're waiting for you to work out, lol, does that mean love, lots of love? Charted, I didn't know you cared. Right. So this tonight, right? Does anyone know this flag? Whose flag is this? Come on. Come on. Anyone? This is the last king of Cymru, Wales. And it's not Llewellyn ap Griffith. Prince David, King David. Burn you, Jarden. And the thing is, right, that's the thing, right? Our leaders, Princip, which is another word for King Rex, right? We weren't princes, we were kings. We just called ourselves princes for whatever reason, right? Because we did. Because we weren't presumptuous bastards like those English, right? So yeah, you are right. David ap Griffith, right? The brother of Llewellyn, and also the son of Griffith. And this poor bastard was held up in the boggy lands of Gwynedd, trying to get his family out, and Llewellyn, what was left of Llewellyn's family. And this flag itself, I want to get this flag. Maybe we should be using this flag, not the Owen Glyndŵr version, because someone else. Well, I tell you what, right, Jarden, I want to print this flag. I want to start selling this flag because I have seen copies of this being sold, and you can't get a copy of this, for more than, you could need about 50, 60 quid. I can't afford 50, 60 quid for a flag. I could afford a tenner for the Owen Glyndŵr one and Llewellyn ap Griffith's flag, right? Well, actually, unless you've got the little tongues on it, right, it's not Llewellyn ap Griffith's flag, it's Owen Glyndŵr's flag. I want to use this one, and I want to get this. Now, I don't know, Jarden, if you wanted, I tell you what, we haven't got many people on here. There might be other people listening tomorrow or whatever. But I think you could guess who uses the Owen Glyndŵr flag. Oh, give me a clue. Go on, Jarden. Go on, give me a clue. Go on, go on. Jarden, would you be, if I managed to get these printed right, would you be interested in buying one? Right, because I have to make my money back somehow. But I like this flag because it's different, and it stands out. People ask questions. It looks. The problem is with the Owen Glyndŵr flag. I have been twice. I've had people saying, "Why are you flying an English flag?" Because it looks too close, like the three lions of England. Sort of red on yellow or whatever. No, that's on a. It's red on a white background, but you know what I mean. The official colours of the royal family. So Prince Wilhelm, King Karl III. Yeah. Shh. Now I love this flag, and I'm gonna what I'm gonna do, right? I asked a printer, right, if he could do this flag. So what I'm gonna do, Owen on flag. I gotta get it. I gotta get this printed. I want to get these done. I want one flying on my land here, and what we'll do, we'll get one flying at Dinas Powers Castle as well. That's what we're gonna do. Oh my God! I tell you what, this is wearing me out. And so it's 9:04. Right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for another 15 minutes, and it was at the 1960s investiture and the recent coronation. What? The Owen Glyndŵr flag, was it? I didn't know that. Really? You take a closer kneel to this than me, Jarden. I think you're obsessed. Jarden, yet they chose to do the royal procession on Glyndŵr Day last year. Right, Adam, what a bunch of twats. Do you know what, right? That really annoyed me last year, right? That really annoyed me, Jarden, right? And Adam, right? It really annoyed me, right? And Adam, massive apologies. I had no idea you were doing a live tonight. And Jarden called me a TWAT, right? And because Jarden actually watched your stuff before he actually watched mine. Symbolic warfare. Hey, Adam, do you like this flag? Because I tell you what, right? These are, if I can get these printed for like obviously, a tenner each, and I could chuck a tenner on, right? If I can, because I'll be printing them, right? If I can get this printed or a similar design to this, right? Would you guys be interested in buying one? Because I love this design. I love this flag of King David ap Griffith. I really, really do, right? And it's you know it's really different. I wanted to. I've got the House of Gwynedd flag on my car, right? But I've also got the Owen Glyndŵr flag. But guys, right? Can I just ask you something, right? This flag, what is it based on? What is the Owen Glyndŵr flag based on? I know we've got the coat of arms, the Owen Glyndŵr coat of arms, but but is this symbolic of our imagination, right? And good work, Griff. Look forward. Look, Griff, right? When do you, right? Are you going to do any more Sundays? Because if you are, you need to let me know, right? So I can alter my doodah to another time, and you can go on without any competition, right? Adam, Andrew, Jada, we love you, right? I hope that guy, right? So no, yes, nobody's really discussing this flag, are they? You guys are just too into talking about Jarden's left nipple, right? Now we just talked about this. We just talked about the damage to this site in Tolopandi, right? And I've got to be honest with you. I've got to be honest with you. Is it me, or we're losing a lot more historical and archaeological sites now? And it sort of makes me realize that we are at the edge of losing so much of our history. And the usual excuse is climate change, right? People are saying, oh, you know, we've got to cut down trees, and then the trees damage archaeological sites. It's about climate change. What we can do, we can replant the archaeological sites and the trees. Now, the other thing as well is, so you guys who actually do who are following me on Facebook and obviously regulars at my classes, you will know. You will know that I am setting up a laboratory which is much bigger than this. And what I'm going to do is when you lovers on there, when I'm teaching, hang on a minute. Do you know what? I've just lost power. Hang on. I've lost the feed to my computer in it, even though I'm still teaching. Oh. Right, hang on a minute. If anyone's saying anything online, I can't really pick it up a minute. Hang on a minute. Just bear with me a minute, guys. Right, I'm just trying to get power back into the laptop. I don't know what's happened to my laptop. Just bear with me a minute. Right, anyway, I can't see your banter a minute, right? Which is a bit of a shame. And so what we're going to do, what I was trying to say was that I've got lots of archaeological reports to publish, right? And Adam, I was expecting you to come down here to give me a hand with some of the work, because there's lots to do. I'm going to I've got to reset something up a minute. So guys, just talk amongst yourselves not about washing machines, because I've got a student that Adam's aware of that talks about washing machines in lectures. We won't mention Anne's name. She's one of my subscribers as well. We love you to bits, Anne. I'm going to get back onto the feed now, and so there we go. Sunday Antiquarian Ramblings. Is that associated with Jackie Ramblings? Right. Okay, here we go. We're back on it, guys. Okay, I'm trying to get the feed back up. Oh, right, there you go. Didn't Alan Wilson said this 35 years losing history for decades. Now, the thing is, right, I don't think it's a matter that we're losing history, which we are. I think it's a matter that we're allowing history to be lost. And yeah, love this flag. So I tell you what, if I can, and honestly, guys, right? Yeah, I know I mentioned about donations and sort of joining my channel and money and all the bloody rest of it, but if you guys actually really want me to get these flags printed, I will. I've been told it's going to cost me about 150 quid to, I don't know, get a um get a, get a number done. So I'm going to be slightly out of pocket. So if I do get them done, then I'll probably put them on Etsy or whatever. And and yeah, it would be good. And we'll probably get small miniature versions done. I love this flag. The 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 um the Owen Glendower version should actually have blue tongues. I tell you what we'll do, chuck the Owen Glendower version up a minute. Hang on a minute. And right, okay. Um, okay. Owen Glendower flag. The thing is, technically, is it though? Owen. Oh, by the way, right? My new passport. They hadn't even updated it. It still says um Her Royal Highness. Right. So, right, here we go. Now, there you go. There. I tell you what, that looks bloody English. It really does. Actually, the proper Gwynedd version actually has blue tongues and blue claws, right? And that does look massively English. I've had people stopping me saying, as I said, why are you flying an English flag? So if you can compare that then with our example there, I'm loving that. I really do love that flag. I really do love it. And what the difference between this and, as we know, the difference is the blue, and that's the difference. So here we go. I did read a book about Aberfrau dynasty. The blue flag is very rare. Even in the book said so. Jarden, sorry, Carl, did you mention about Llandovery or Sir Rees ap Griffith? I could not watch you and Adam at the same fecking time. I only have two. No, we haven't done that yet. Sir Rees ap Griffith. And now I've got a problem. You've edged me into a hole. And what I've got to do is, do you know what, guys? Hang on a minute. Do you know what? Right. Do you know what I'm going to do? Is we've got to do the Sir Rees ap Griffith thing next week, but we are going to do some of it today, Jarden. Right, and the reason why is that I well, right, Jarden, don't do it now. Right, just don't do it now. Just don't do it a minute. We're going to do it in a minute. There's two other things I want us to do, right? Don't forget to like and subscribe and join, right? And there's merchandise on here as well. Now I showed this image. This is all over the place. I bet you Adam's thing online. It's so well organized, right? He doesn't go back and forth like this. And hey, by the way, was Peter with you tonight, Adam? I don't know. Anyway, Adam, I'll no doubt be seeing you on Tuesday. But the thing is, right? I've nearly built my lab, right? And I put, it's the structure's there. I put the beams down for the floor. I'm waiting for the planks to arrive, and I've got to put the door on and stuff. And what I'm going to be doing is live evenings from the lab, whilst I look at artifacts, whilst I look at old photographs, whilst I get some of my work published, right? Because I'm spending probably the next 5 years publishing my archaeological record, which is a really important thing I need to do. So I'm going to be doing live things like this from the lab. And as I said to them all earlier on, Adam, that if you do a live with Britain's hidden history, then give me the time so I could start mine differently. So we're not competing, right? So that's it. That's the thing. So so basically it'll look like that, but a bit more technical, right? My trays are black and a bowl, and actually she's more attractive than me, but don't worry about it. Now I don't know if any of you know, Adam does, that I publish that Archaeology Cymru, as it is, publishes a magazine called A Listing Pillar. And the reason why it's called a Listing Pillar is after this monument, right? And strangely enough, I'm going to double check, but I do believe I'm doing a Listing Pillar in my lecture tomorrow. I just got to get my diary. I do believe I'm doing a Listing Pillar tomorrow on my May evening lecture. No, I'm not. I'm doing a Listing Pillar not this week, but next week. Tomorrow I'm doing Chilean. Well, before we go on, right? I'll tell you what I'm doing this week, right? I'm cuddling my turkey lots. I'm trying to deal with this frigging cat, right? Monday evening at 7 o'clock, I do my Dark Ages Cymru lectures for an hour, if nobody knows about that. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I've got my prehistory stuff, and on a bloody hell, on a Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock. And the ones on Tuesday and Wednesday are at 7:30, and the ones on one on Wednesday morning is at 11 o'clock in the morning. Right, so you could join any of them. But a listing we'll be doing not this week, but following week. Tomorrow we're doing Chilean and King Arthur. Anyway, so here we go. The Great Griff. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, Griff. I can I just talk something about that flag again? I go back and forth. This flag. If I flew this flag, I'd be one of the only people that actually owns property in Wales that actually is flying this flag. I'll be so proud, and I'll have several, and we're on a hill, right? So yeah, and you'll be the other one. We'll get them for you, Adam. And Jada says, but didn't know Archaeology Cymru had a magazine. Thought it was too expensive to print. Baldrick told me. Jordan, we do have a magazine, right? And the magazine, we've just sent one out. And we've got another magazine, and it's a proper magazine. It's got an ISS. Oh, forget about the SS. We got an ISS. Forget it. An ISS N number. Right now, I just, if anyone does ever want to subscribe to Archaeology Company, then just do so. And I just want, and the reason, there you go, and the reason why it's called a listing pillar is again due to this. It comes back to this. I'm just going to type this in now. Yeah, we do have a magazine. Thank you very much. It's been going since 1863, and no, it hasn't. I'm lying. It's been going since 1995. Amazingly enough. And if you want to join, you could join it on there. There it is. Right. The reason why it's called a listing pillar now, right, is that, and it is printed, it's sent to people in the post, right? It is, and you occasionally get pens, don't you, Adam? And you get free books as well. Shush. For being a member, it's £32 a year. But anyway, because a listing pillar is a site that's been moved, right? 1863. That's when Anne was born. Shut up, Jordan. Right. Because the monument's been moved. It was originally recorded in the late 1600s as a monument. And no, just me tonight. What? 1863 is our age. What? No, just me tonight. What the hell are you on about? Anyway, so it was recorded in the 1600s. There was inscriptions on it, really, really intricate inscriptions about the kingdom. associated with this pillar of Ilisic. We don't really know where it comes from, but it's been moved several times. So this monument itself is in the middle of a field. It's been excavated. However, it's not protected. And we've lost basically the images of the carvings on it. The only carvings that we've got were carved in there later on. Right. And this is the problem with our history. We're just not protecting it. You know, there's the Ponfadog oak, for example, that came down in the winds in, I think it was in 2012. I remember people saying, "Oh my God, the trees come over." You know, they could have easily have righted it because there was still a root system there. And they could have righted it, but no, they were moaning and groaning, and nobody could do anything because we're so shit at saving these things. But if somebody knocked this over with a bulldozer, right, nobody would care. But this is a massive monument. This is hugely important. Hence why we call our magazine Illicit Pillar. Right, so, right. Oh, yes. Now, right. What I've got to do is Jarden. We're coming to the end of this today, but we're not, because I've got to get my diary. And what we've got to do is we've got to mention, we're going to get online now. We're going to get online, right? Right, missus. Right, we're going to get online. We're going to type in our friend, right? Who is Sir Rees. Who is it? Ap Griffith. Ap Griffith. Right. Not that one. Sir Rees Ap Griffith. Not that one. We got the wrong bloody one. Right, there we go. No. God's sake. Right, anyway. Right, hang on. We got the wrong one. Oh, there we go. There he is. Rees Ap Griffith. Right? That one. Now, depending on, oh no, it's the wrong one. Right, okay, forget it. Right. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. I've got a spelling. Hang on. Diary. Right, hang on a minute. Right, okay. Diary. Right, got the wrong one. Right, there is something else. No, it's Sir Rees Ap Thomas, you numpty. We've got me. Sir Rees Ap Thomas. Thank you. Right, this guy, right? This guy, Sir Rees Ap Thomas, right, died in 1525. Yeah. Now, this guy is one of the heroes of the Tudor dynasty. Because for on the 7th of August, all from memory, 7th of August, in the year 1485, Battle of Bosworth, this guy, Sir Rees Ap Thomas, died in 1525, managed to get the Tudor dynasty on the throne of England. And this guy stood between the new King Henry and the throne of England, and he actually supported the new King Henry, right? Now, the reason why we mention this guy is he was father to Gruffydd ap Rees ap Thomas, and then there was a son known as Rees ap Griffith, right? However, now Rees ap Griffith, by all accounts, died in the year 1531, right? But there was another Howell, right? Howell led a rebellion, I'm told, in Llandovery in 1535. Basically, he was proclaiming an independent Wales of some kind of thing, right? Now, that was based on Rhys ap Griffith, who was claiming himself to be Prince King of Cymru. Right, this was a direct front to Henry VIII. Well, he died. He was executed in 1531. That but 1535 there was this Howell, right, and now I can't find anything about him anywhere except it's in a book, right. I'm going to find that book for next week, right, and I'm going to read that out of the book. This Howell bloke is said to have laid siege to Llandudno, captured it, burnt some other castles, right, and there was a proper independence movement, right. So it wasn't Owain Glyndŵr who led the last independence movement in Wales. It was this guy's family, right, that led the last independence movement. And I want to discuss a little bit about that next week. So we're going to read through Jarden in Scotland. Some historical sites have a glass. Oh, yes, they do. We don't do that in Wales. Historic Scotland actually does a good job. I completely agree. I will never criticise Scottish Heritage. They do a massively better job. I've seen what they do in Orkney. There is at least 5 with a similar name. Yes. Now, maybe Adam's related somewhere. Griffith. This is a shock for some Griffiths that mixed Prince Llewellyn the Great and Edward I's ancestry. Actor Ioan ap Griffith. Yeah. Jarden, what we're going to do this next week because it's a really complicated subject. Now that we've got 6 people joining us for something really intriguing, let's just talk for me now. Let's just get me back on the screen. Right. I can't. Right, there we go. Stop share. Over to me with my background. Now, I've always sat back for years, and I thought, right. Oh, the people wanting an independent Wales could not have ended with the death of Owain Glyndŵr. Now, this is going to come as another shocker. I do believe that Owain Glyndŵr died at the Battle of Woodbury in 1405, but that's part of a book I'm writing, so that's me, right? We don't need to go there. But I don't believe that Owain Glyndŵr was the last person to lead a rebellion in Wales. I don't believe it for one moment, because you've got a period of 130 years that writing's not brilliant, right? And then you've got the reign of Henry VIII and things get really great. Now, I believe that there were more rebellions than just this rebellion that we're talking about in 1531 and 1535 to 1536. I believe there were many more. When I was doing some research into Llandudno Castle one day, I came across this guy in 1535 who had actually captured Llandudno and burnt it to the ground. And I thought, this is good. So I turned to one or two of my books and I found some information, right? So then when I forgot which book this information was in, I went on the internet and the information that said that Llandudno Castle was put under siege by this guy disappeared. All information that I can find about this individual has disappeared. So I'm going to try and look at my books, try and find some information from my books, not off the internet, and I'll bring that to you next week with some illustrations. So what we're going to do, we're going to call that a day now. I will look into the flag thing immediately after this now. I'm going to look into it. Are there any questions before we finish today? And thank you very much for joining, and do apologise, the great Griff, for having a presentation at the same time as yours. What a knob I am. But you all know that anyway. Right, okay. Anyone want to say anything before we finish today? Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, invade Poland, and join my channel, £1.99, as you know. Anyone else want to say anything else before my nose falls off and I got to blow my nose? There you go. Right, don't forget to keep watching the videos on my channel. And I'm just going to doodle around a minute. Few issues. Oh, anything else? What else would you like me to look at next week as well? You could say it now. Please do. Do you want me to look at cats? No, maybe not. No, Da from Independent. From Independent Tropical Bertha. What? Yeah, Merthyr Tydfil needs to be independent. It's got to win money for a start. Right. Anything else? Independent tropics. Tropics? Topics. Right, come on, guys. Let's have some more. Come on, let's have. I tell you what, I'm not going now until we have another topic for next week. Otherwise, I'm going to take my clothes off and run around here naked, which would mean that my channel would be taken off. No, let's not do that. Right. And don't mention Russell Brand. I like Russell Brand. Anyway, anything else? Nostar Night. Try to catch you on Wednesday night, provided that the Great Griff does not have another clash. Well, yeah, Griff does have another clash at 7:30 on Tuesday. He's with me. So there you go. Sorted that one out. He joins me on a Tuesday evening, right? We talk about stuff, prehistoric stuff. Right. Okay, then. If there's nothing else anyone wants to say, then we're going to call it a day. We're going to call it a night. Thank you very much. We've got to go. Yma o hyd. Happy Welsh Independence Day. And diolch. Good. Urban Guerrilla respect. Why does Urban Guerrilla keep coming up? Yeah. It's my Patch's dog. Right. Patch's dog. Have we I gotta keep up the good work. And we gotta get those flags done. We really gotta get them. Right, guys, who's interested in a flag other than Adam? Come on, we gotta put it on there. Come on. Any more for flags? Flags. The Owen, not the Owen do a flag, the David Ap Griffith flag. Any more? And actually, I'm gonna, because the problem is when I print these flags, I've got to go with one size, right? Oh, Andrew Hawkwind, chill out, man. We're there. Do you know what? That was a great Hawkwind concert, right? That was absolutely amazing, right? That was so good, right? That the music was so good. I was standing at the back of the castle and at Chepstow Castle. It was absolutely brilliant. Respect. I forgot to mention Winford Emmanuel. Who the freaking hell's was that the video I watched earlier on? Winford Emmanuel. Was that it? It might have been. It might have been. Might not have been. I don't know. Hey, Jordan, next time just put the link to the person's channel on you, right? Because people could just go straight to it then. And they could watch Winford Emmanuel. Is that a real name? Come on. Flipping heck. Do you remember that? Stay out the black and in the red, nothing in this game for two in a bed. We used to love it. Love it. Right, I'm gonna say good night now. Otherwise I'm gonna be rambling on too long. Anyway, thank you for everyone joining me. Oh, and a dog. And Andrew's dog. Night, guys. I'm off. Have a scratch. Oh, Joe, I might have a shave actually. You know, I fancy having something interesting to eat tonight. It's got to be vegetarian. Don't know what. Do you know what? Right, I've actually got a live yogurt. I'm gonna pour syrup into it. I love it. Look what you could have won. Hey, Andrew, right? Do you know what? Right. Why is it on 3-2-1? Not 3-2-1. No. Stay out of the black and in the red, bullseye. Right. They used to end up having a bully jar, didn't they? And some flights and a pen, right? Um, I am a sectarian for health reasons. Fair enough. Or you like fish, right? Shut up. I know you like fish. I know you like fish. I've seen you with photographs of fish. Right, anyway. Um, well, clawfish, sort of. Andrew, right? Why is it, right? When Bully was on, right? Yeah, bullseye. People in Birmingham always look what you could have won, a frigging yacht. What are you going to do with a yacht in Birmingham, right? And people are used to look what you could have won. And the people who always run the car, right, were people who clearly said at the beginning they don't have a driving license and they can't drive for certain health reasons. Every single time. Oh, and the person who would win a holiday, right, to like Germany would be like a Second World War veteran who had really bad experiences in Germany in a prisoner of war camp and he never wanted to go. Always used to happen. Look what you could have won. I like the mini, actually. The speedboat. Do you know, did anyone actually win the speedboat? Did they? A freaking speedboat. I've seen Hawkwind in the last century. Yeah. I think so. Did somebody say they can't get a passport or something? You've got to fly like tomorrow and they haven't got a passport. That's bloody convenient, isn't it? You know what, my new passport, right? Yeah, I thought I was going to have the King Charles thing on it, right? I didn't have it on there, right? It's just like I got my passport here somewhere. Where's my bloody passport? Oh, there it is. My new passport. Guys, look at this, right? My new passport, right? There it is. Oh, right. It's just like there, white, British passport, right? Yeah, British passport, new passport. United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, right? And it goes, you open it up, and it's like Her Britannic Majesty's Right, I had this passport, right? I had the passport in May. There was Annika Rice on Banging Hunt. I mentioned her as Sir Rees ap Griffith's descendant changed their name to Rice, as in Rice Merrick. My mum's got a washing machine, or is it a silver machine? Hey, do you know what? Right? Do you know what? Um, I can never remember that bloody song. Not down, coming down the sun, sunrise, sun going. Oh, what the bloody hell? Something to do with the sun. Oh no, it's gonna. There's a little worm in my head. It's like sun. You guys just want to keep me on for a rant, do you? Oh God, going down sunrise, da 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 sunrise. I saw that. I went to the concert at Chepstow. They didn't play Silver Machine or that song, right? Mind you, I think Hawkwind's got like 1 million songs. You know, they had like 5,000 albums. Hurry on, sundown. Hurry on, sundown. I love it. Do you know what, right? When I was at the Hawkwind concert, right, I dressed as a reject from the 60s. And I was the only reject from the 60s there. And this was only a few weeks ago. I loved it. And the warm-up band was Phil Campbell and the Bar Steward Sons. It was I like Phil Campbell and the Bar Steward Sons, but it's not it's not like the old Motorhead, is it? You know, with the good old Lemmy. Ah, that was a link, you see. Right. That was why when I went to the concert at Chepstow Castle a few weeks ago, Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, right? He was in Hawkwind, as we know. Not Hawkwind. Well, Campbell was never in a Hawkwind. He was in Motorhead. right? And Lemmy was in Motorhead, and Lemmy was also in Hawkwind. He replaced Brian Jones. No, he didn't. Somebody else replaced Brian Jones, but obviously he became the singer in there anyway. That's my knowledge. Bugger. Anyway, if nobody's going to say anything else, I better dash. I better have my luxury food. And by the way, this is a total bit of pointless news, right? Did you know Harrods actually has a car park only for rich people? And do you want a good joke, right? Do you want a good joke, right? Somebody the other day called me a pillock, right? So I could not work out what a pillock was. Then I realised that a pillock was Mr. Pilchard's brother. Was Brian Jones in a Damned? Was he? Who was in the Damned? Oh, I've got to look this up. Who was in the Damned? What? Lemmy was in the Damned. I didn't know he was with Lemmy in the Damned. Oh, right. God, I've got to look up Lemmy. Hang on, Lemmy. 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 Lol. Shut up, Patches, dog. You're supposed to be in bed by now. Right. It says he was in Motorhead, Hawkwind, The Rockin' Vickers, Opal Butterfly, and The Damned, the Head Cat. Okay, fair enough. Lemmy. Well, we've worked that out now, haven't we? You know? Do you know what I do from time to time? Right, I work out how many. I work out how many. Right. I like looking at bands, and I like looking at discography. There's been like 1,000 members of the Damned, and they're still going. Right. Hang on. Oh, okay. Right, the Damned. Right. The question is, how many hits did the Damned have in the charts? Right. The Damned. Right. Discography. Right. Discography. The Damned discography. They've released 48 singles. Right. And they had a UK number 52 in 1977. Come on, Andrew. What was the one at 52 in 1977? It's quite easy. It's not really. I wouldn't have a clue. They had a couple. They had three more that made it in top 50s, 1979. One that made it into the top 50s in 1982. They had Grimly Fendish, 21, 25, 34, 1985. They had Eloise. Oh, yeah. We're loving Eloise. We're loving that. Eloise. Eloise. Oh, loving that. Yeah. That got to number 3 in 1986. And we love the Stranglers. Golden brown texture like sand. La 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 golden brown. It's cool. Love the Damned. Nuts. Nuts. Yeah, but the Damned is still going. You know, the greatest band on the planet, right, has to be the Rolling Stones. And the reason why, right, the Rolling Stones actually had 9 number ones in the 1960s. They haven't had a number one since, which is really weird. But they're still going, right? And that's why because they're still going. Got to be done. Do you want me to tell you, right, guys? Right, no, come close to the screen, right? I'm going to tell you what actually happened to Elvis Presley, right? It's August 1977, right? And Elvis Presley, right? It's true story, this, right? Elvis Presley has a fan letter, right, from a guy in a mental hospital, right? And he says, look, Elvis, right? It would, it would change my life, right? If you could come and sing to me in the mental hospital, right? Because we all like Elvis in the mental hospital, right? So Elvis sat there for ages. Here we go, August 1977, right? Um, Shut up about Keith. We know Keith is an ancient monument, right? Stop it, Andrew. You interrupted, right? Anyway, Elvis Presley decided to go to the mental hospital, right? And so he went to the mental hospital, right? It's near Graceland's, this mental hospital. He went there, and he went through the security, and it was 5 minutes to 1 o'clock, right? Because there was a changeover of the guards at 1 o'clock. So he went into this mental hospital, this high security mental hospital, right, near Graceland's, Memphis, Tennessee, right? So he went in there, right, and he went down a corridor, right, and he was escorted down the corridor by a nurse who said, "Oh, I got to go off at 1 o'clock. Will you sign this for me?" So he signed her arm, right. Anyway, he went into the room with this patient, right, and the patient was dressed up like Elvis Presley. And Elvis Presley said, "Oh, you look really good." He said, "Look, Elvis, can you sing to me?" Right. So he did the usual things, right? He did Jailhouse Rock. He did Maybe I Did Love You, that one. You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, all the classics, right? And American Trilogy, you can't forget that. Well, he was there for a whole hour, right? Anyway, it was dinner time for the patients, right? They had late dinner at 2. Oh, anyway, he said goodbye to this patient, and he said, "Look, I hopefully, yeah." He said, "You've made my day, right? By the way, it's Elvis Presley lookalike day, right?" So as he went down the corridor, right, every single person looked like Elvis as he went down the corridor, right? So he's going to the checkout, right, and he says, "Oh, I got to go." And the guard said, "Yeah, you can't go." And he said, "Yeah, I'm Elvis." And somebody else said behind him, "I'm Elvis too, and so's my dog. I'm Elvis." Anyway, everyone said, "We're Elvis," right? So that actually explains what happened to Elvis Presley. He ended up in a mental hospital in near Graceland, right? He disappeared, right? So they had to make up the story of Elvis Presley going to the moon with Adolf Hitler, right? Because they never found him. The true story is he actually went to that mental hospital, right? And they eventually let him out 20 years later, and he got on a plane and he flew to he flew to York, and that's why he's running a chip shop in York, and it's a true story. Actually, I know the story about this, right? Elvis actually Elvis actually had a genetic problem, and I know it's really sad what happened to Elvis actually, and I believe it would have happened to Elvis had a condition, right? And I think it was a heart condition. It ran in the family, and it was so acute that the reason why Elvis got so fat is he had to take these painkilling drugs and steroids, and that's what made him big. It wasn't because he was eating all the bloody burgers and stuff, and he was found on the toilet eating the bloody burger, right? The problem is that that's what caused Elvis to get fat, because he was on all these painkillers and all these drugs to help him out. So if Elvis didn't die when he died, he would have died anyway of a heart attack. He would have died on stage. To be honest with you, it would have been far better if Elvis had died on stage, a bit like the way Michael Jackson should have died on stage, and the way that the likes of Prince should have died on stage. But that's basically what happened to Elvis Presley. In a way, people will say, what would have happened if Elvis Presley had lived another month, another year? He would have died anyway. He was. The problem is the painkillers and the steroids and everything were making him bigger and bigger and bigger, and that in turn was causing him to have more problems on his heart, right? So eventually, he would have he would have died of heart failure anyway. Bloody hell. You know what? I do these evenings, right? And I talk about, you know, mate, yeah, nobody's put on a donation, right? Talking about greats, right? One of the finest actors ever was Stanley Baker. Stanley Baker, the one who put the money forward and directed Zulu in, was it 1964? I always get that date wrong. But he used the Ferndale Choir in the Ferndale Valley at Llanwano Church. Well, actually, they were the Llanwano Church, and there's the pub, and the church overlooks it. So in the car park alongside Llanwano's pub, which is overlooked by the church, that's where the choir sang, the Ferndale Choir. And one of my old students, Martin, right, he's actually joined that very choir. And that choir was the one that was used in the film Zulu. Stanley Baker. He died, I do believe, I think he may have died as a heart attack as well in 1976, alongside Sidney James it is Sidney James, yeah, Carry On films. Tommy Cooper. Oh, that was a very odd one, wasn't it? Actually, the same thing happened to Tommy Cooper as happened. Bloody hell, this is all really linked tonight, isn't it? The same thing happened to Tommy Cooper as happened to Sidney James, right? Because Sid was on stage, Tommy Cooper was on stage, and the audience thought they were both faking it. Whether they would have died if, it was normal circumstance, Sidney James could have died backstage and he would have died alone, right? In his dressing room. He died in front of his audience. And Tommy Cooper died in front of his audience as well. That's the sad link. And, if, I'm going to say it, right? I'm not going to say I'm happy. Tommy Cooper and Sidney James died in front of an audience. That's the best way for entertainers to go. So that's good. That's the way they would have wanted it. Elvis Presley should have gone out on stage, right? He really should have. He really should have. I don't know any performers that have actually died on stage, to be honest with you. Not performers. Obviously, Sidney James did, and Tommy Cooper did. Any singers that have died performing? I think there might be one, but I'm not really sure. I'm sure there's something at the back of my mind if anyone could come up with one. But this is the thing. This is it makes one of the great, not too long, on the 30th of August, Alan Wilson died. And whether you liked Blackett Wilson's work is for your own minds, right? But I've just been thinking about the death of Alan Wilson, and I think it's so, so sad. I know some of you guys are massive fans of Alan Wilson, right? And some of you might not be. But it's really sad the way he went, in a care home, and he didn't really die with the respects that he deserved. Oh, anyway, Andrew's going. See you. Pleasure. Random acts. Banter. Get to bed, you nutter. Respect. Oh, do I have to go to bed now? Oh, do I have to go? Why don't I just do a little bit of a ditty, right? Oh, one last thing I want to tell you all, guys, before I go. This book, Romans in South Wales, has completely sold out. It sold out the first edition, and it sold out the special edition. So we're doing a reprint. We're going for another edition, and there's there's going to be a little bit of new stuff in it, right? In the reprint, right? And I just want to read out two things from my book. If I can find them. Oh, and actually, Adam, right? Get me the details of the Karatika stone if you can. Right, just going to read this out for everybody before I go. Oh, some of you have already gone. So anyway, those that are left are going to do this for you, right? It's called The Lark by Dennis Doyle, who passed away in COVID in 2020. It goes as follows. The song of a lark drills the pale rock of morning. He stands high over soft strata of wind, proud to have driven a straight shaft in one breath, down to the green vein, the thin green vein where, but he has already forgotten this. His flight began and will end. And on that note, guys, we're going to call this a note. I've got to have something to eat. I've been on for 2 hours. How? We'll be back on next week at 8 o'clock. We'll be doing a little bit about the rebellion in 1536, 1535. And that is where we'll leave it tonight. Anyone who's just joined us, this is Karl-James Langford. As I say, Tuesday, Wednesday, 7:30, live on YouTube. Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock. And Monday at 7. And this YouTube online for you guys. Thanks for your support, respect, and always come back and listen. We'll have a good old jar and a banter. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr i chi. Nos da. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join any donations. Many thanks in the box down below if you want to make a donation. Thank you very much. Night, guys. I'm going to look in the chat box and we're going to say night. Night, Jordan. It's been an absolute pleasure. Keep in touch. And we got to do this research about this thing. I've got to find it. I know you were on about the Morian book, but anyway, night, guys. Night, everybody. I'm off.